Hollywood Unlocked Uncensored.
What up, everybody? This is Jason Lee, and this is Hollywood Unlocked Uncensored.
And I'm Melissa Ford, a.k.a. The Curve Queen.
Yep, it's DJ Damage. Let's get the show started.
Listen, if you're listening to the show, please make sure that you download us everywhere. iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, iHeart, and make sure you're watching this beautifully crafted show on YouTube.
Yay.
Okay, so listen, it has been a crazy week. Before we even get into this, I have to tell you about the depression I suffered in New York City. I flew to New York for a day.
Damn.
One day. I was supposed to go to London, as you know. I canceled my trip to London to go to New York to watch Anthony Joshua
Oh, man.
pummel this fat Latino guy named Andy Ruiz.
He didn't pummel him. He got
I
pummeled.
went there to see him pummel him. That's what I went there for.
Right.
First of all, for those of you that are saying, who the fuck is Anthony Joshua? One of the most beautiful black men you're ever going to see.
Oh,
That's
my God.
really why you want. Why you went.
No, because I'm going to tell you why I like Anthony Joshua. Besides the fact that he's 6'6", 200 and something pounds of pure muscle and beauty.
He is easy on the eyes.
He is a nice person.
Yes.
He's very nice.
He showed that.
He's very nice. He's very positive.
Gracious.
And, yeah, very gracious. And he was the heavyweight champion of the world.
Well, not anymore.
Past tense.
Shout out to Umar Kamani from Pretty Little Thing who gave me a ringside seat. I have to tell you, have you been to a boxing match of one of our friends? Have you been to any boxing matches of people we know?
No.
Okay. You've been to basketball games.
Yes.
You've seen your people you know playing basketball.
And they lose.
And they lose. But
Uncomfortable afterwards.
a little bit.
Just a little bit.
It's a basketball game. You're throwing a ball in a fucking hole. It either makes it or doesn't make it. But when your friend is in there fighting for their title and they're beating the shit out of each other and one fast hit could knock them out, hurt them, and ruin them and damage their brand. Not you damage, but their brand. It's intense.
Yeah.
The intensity is on it. It's a feeling that you do not want to have.
Yeah.
I had that the other night.
A lot of people did not think that it was going to go that way because, I mean, there's an obvious difference between their physiques, you know.
Fat guys, we have a chance.
Hey, look, that boy might be fat, but as soon as he stepped in that ring and I seen him start moving, I said, that's not a fat boy. That's something else.
Yeah.
He has something else.
Yeah.
He was moving.
Had a sense of depression because we had planned we were like, we going out to party afterwards. We're going to go back to the hotel, congratulate him. You know, the champ, this is Anthony Joshua. This is the guy who beat Klitschko. This is the heavyweight boxing champ of the world. And he lost.
Yeah.
It was really sad. And
huge upset.
But a lot of people always say, as a critique to Anthony Joshua, he's not tough enough. They say that.
but he's won every fight. He's never lost until
that day. But they
that
say he doesn't take the fights where it would show if he's tough enough. Like Ruiz, Ortiz, Deontay Wilder. That's the critique. And then you go in there with Ruiz, and you know.
But they say the same about Floyd Mayweather.
They say the same about everybody.
And then they get in the ring and win. This happened to not go that way. And it was definitely the most shocking thing. First of all, let me just talk about the fight in general. Did you guys see the two girls fight? The two women? Sorry, women. Let me be very clear. Two women fight. Those girls were beating the entire shit out of each other. And the girl from, the woman from Belgium, I think her name was Delphine. She lost, but she should have won. She was robbed. The fight before that, the black guy fighting the other guy. The black guy should have won. He lost. They even said it was a draw. There was a lot of fuckery going on that night. So we were already over it. And then the third fight, the guy from Cameroon came in with all the bunny rabbit clothes on. He got his ass whooped and knocked in the first round,
So
knocked out.
do you think that this was like, do you think that this was like a disputable decision? You know, in terms
with Joshua?
Yeah. Disputable? Because you're saying there's a lot of fuckery with the decisions.
I'm just saying
of the other fights.
They didn't sage that place before this fight. And I don't know what spirit was in that motherfucker, but when Anthony Joshua was knocked down, everybody in the building was looking at each other like, what the fuck's going on? And then he was winded in the second round. I mean, like, he's trying to catch his breath and his feet were wobbly. That was like not a good sign.
Yeah.
No, he was really trying to make it through that round.
Yeah, no,
and he was really trying to survive the round. He kept, clinching him and everything, but
that tag behind the ear just like.
Yeah, it was.
Tweety
The thing
birds.
was, it was the hits before, and he was just like trying to just stay up. He's actually a pretty strong dude because I don't know if I could get hit like that and stay on my feet that long.
I have said to people, and I've said to him, I will not go to another fight because when Floyd gets in the ring, you know he's gonna win. I mean, I don't know. You just assume he's gonna win.
And he also doesn't get hit.
No, Maidana too. He got hit third round at the end of her third round, and he stumbled to the corner. I was like, the after party's gonna be fucked up because he's never lost. So if you lose, then what do you say? Because from what I heard, seen Anthony's camp after he lost. I went over to them and they said, listen, he doesn't like anybody feeling sorry for him. He's gonna be fine. So
Yes.
I messaged him that night on WhatsApp, and he didn't respond. The next day, I landed in LA and I called him. He answered. He was in good spirits. I think he made like 20, 30 million. I don't know. So I mean, he won, still won. But he was just like, I need to focus better. There was a lot of things I could have done different. I think one of the biggest changes is, one, this was his first fight in the U.S. Two, he was training in Miami, which Miami is not a place to train because there's too many women out there and there's too much distraction. So he told me that he's going to have a rematch in November, and I hope he wins.
I love the showmanship. To lose like that, never lost before. Really congratulating Ruiz because that's the first ever Mexican heavyweight champion ever.
Oh, really?
Ever. It's never happened before.
Best believe when we came out of Madison Square Garden, I don't know where they found all these Mexico flags, but them Mexicans was all over Madison Square Garden with the flag talking about "Viva Mexico." I was like, nigga, get your ass away from me.
And I feel like it's a better story when you do lose and come back for that rematch and win. So, I mean, I was really like, if I was Anthony Joshua, I wouldn't be trying to hug the guy. And he was like, no, you know what? Don't even interview me. Talk to him. This is his moment. That shows a lot. There's a lot of showmanship.
And he posted on his Instagram, "Tonight is yours. Congratulations, champ."
That's amazing.
That's grown up shit.
But he better come back and whoop his motherfucking ass.
I feel like he is. I would be actually scared to be Ruiz for the rematch.
Now, speaking of hugging, there were pictures of him hugging Drake that surfaced, and there was the little comment, the caption that said, "I'm going to break the Drake curse." Oh, I called him when I called him. I said, "Nigga, let's blame it on Drake." He fell out laughing. He thought it was funny.
The Drake curse.
Is it real?
Yeah. At this point, with the Anthony Joshua, that was like, what, second, third round? Which round was that?
Second round, he was already wobbling.
Bruh. He wore, because I'm a Sixers fan, he wore a Sixers jersey our last game, and guess who lost?
Who?
The Sixers. He wore our jersey, and he's a Toronto Raptors fan.
But do you think Drake is having fun with? By the way, I sent Serge Ibaka the clip for the show that you guys were talking about. He's 27. He said to let you know he's about to be 30, and he ain't no little boy.
Ooh.
So, shout out to you, Serge. We know you're all man. All right. So, do you think the Drake curse is real, Melissa? You're from the 6?
Yeah, no, I am. Listen, I can't say that it's real because he is a rabid Raptors fan, and this is the first time that the Toronto Raptors have gone to the finals, and we're doing okay.
But I mean, every time he hugs somebody, they die or something.
They don't die. Damn.
For fuck's sake. Well,
I mean,
let's go to what you want to go down the list.
Please go down the list.
Losses?
Please.
Okay, so the Drake curse is associated because of many teams losing, including the Kentucky College basketball program, except they haven't won a title since, and 3 years later, they lost a decider against Wisconsin in which Drake bet over $4,500 on it. That doesn't sound right. It's probably $45,000. But anyways, I digress. The Toronto Raptors, they made him their global ambassador back in 2013, only to soon gain a reputation for choking in big matches.
Big matches.
Well,
This
you know
match ain't
what?
over
Guess
yet.
what? Okay, this is our year, motherfuckers.
I don't
Okay,
know.
shout out to the
But
Six.
aren't they winning now because he's wearing the jersey of the opposing team?
Yeah, I told you, he just he beat our Sixers wearing a Sixers jersey.
And didn't he just like Aisha Curry's photo and then post a photo of him wearing Steph's jersey?
Okay, well,
he has
Whose
hair
jersey?
lint.
Ain't that a mess? Drake is. Listen, I'm gonna tell you right now, Drake. You being a messy queen. Drake, here's the deal. You and I'm learning by your behavior that we could actually be bosom buddies.
Bosom buddies.
Because we are both very similar. I am fucking petty. You are being petty.
okay. Well, Miami is another team. Miami losing 4-1 to San Antonio Spurs in the NBA Finals. Serena Williams suffered a shocking U.S. Open semifinal
That was crazy.
defeat to Roberta
Didn't he date her?
Vinci. Yes. Quarterback Johnny Manziel dropped out of NFL.
And got on drugs and lost his whole career. Johnny Manziel has been on
a
drugs.
crack binge.
I'm going to say allegedly so I don't get sued, but I know who you know, and if you sue me, I'm going to put all your business out there.
Damn.
But you're fucking around with that stuff. And now you have no career. And who are you? What are you even doing at this point?
Yeah. Well, so there's been quite a few teams and athletes. The list goes on. Okay. Manchester City's Champions Leagues.
Soccer.
Yeah.
He's a global curse.
Yo, he's fucking up soccer.
And boxing.
Yeah. Hopes as Sergio Aguero.
I don't know who these people
Forgive
are.
me for that if I said it wrong. Missed a penalty against Tottenham. Paris Saint-Germain then suffered their heaviest league defeat in 19 years by losing 5-1. Drake, listen. Here's what's up. Just when you make a bet, just keep it quiet. Just don't say anything.
Can I
Just
tell you?
err on the side of
Can
caution.
I tell you all something that has nothing to do with Drake, but I just thought about it and it's so amazing?
Sure.
Okay, damn it, you don't want to hear this, so I apologize in
Oh my
advance.
God.
Trey Songz has the most beautiful penis that I've seen in a long
What?
time.
Listen, what the fuck, Jason? How did you just suddenly start talking about Trey Songz's
I was
dick?
out and about last night getting a manicure.
I did notice.
No, I was getting a manicure and a pedicure because my feet look like Sojourner True.
You could have called me because I look like I kick bricks for a living.
Was Sojourner True a slave?
Listen, okay?
No, because
Just
my feet looked definitely like they was.
stop it right now.
Take the shackles off my feet and knock it
You
down.
were at the Manny Petty
Okay,
spot.
anyway, I was at the
What's wrong
Manny.
with
I was
him?
at the.
And
I was
what,
at the
Trey
Manny
Songz
Petty
walked
side.
in naked?
No. And Trey, I know you're gonna be mad at me, but unless you're
That
gonna
would
call
be
with some dick on the phone, do not call me.
That's
Okay.
too much.
So I was getting Manny and Petty, and I got out and I said, I am hungry. My spirit is hungry. My stomach is hungry. I need to go eat dinner. So me and my friend went to dinner. I cannot say who was at dinner, but I walked in a restaurant and realized that there were some very beautiful women who I recognized. And so I said, hey, how are you? We sat next to them. We started sparking up a conversation, and one of the women was so lit and so fun. We were talking, and we started talking about celebrities and men they just slept with and this and that, whatever. And so she was like, yeah, I fucked Trey Songz. I'm like, no, you did not. She was like, yeah, I did. I was like, swear to God. She was like, mm-hmm. I was like, how was that? She was like, let me show you. I was like, what? And so she put up her phone and she had a video
Of them fucking?
of her sucking his dick.
Oh,
And ladies, I'm telling you.
She was lit.
Ladies, I'm telling you right now, I don't give a fuck if you send this to Trey because Trey and I have an agreement. He don't give a fuck about the media, and I ain't trying to hear shit he trying to say. Trey Songz has an undeniably large penis.
How did we get here from Drake?
I don't know. It's a
How did we
curse.
get here?
It's a curse. It's a curse. It's a fucking curse. That dick is a curse. I'm gonna tell you, I know that dick has ruined lives. I know it's ruined lives. There's bitches out there right now listening saying, yep, he fucked my cervix up or whatever. But Trey, shout out to Cara Colon, who has a baby, by the way.
What?
He has a baby.
Oh, so we figured out who the baby mama is?
Yeah, it's Dave. Did you not watch me on the Wendy Williams show?
Yeah.
Cara Colon. It's Drake. It's Drake. Sorry, Drake, you didn't curse this. It's Davies' baby mama sister.
I thought it was still speculation at that time.
Side note, Dave East, stop going outside in your underwear if we don't see no dick print. Because I'm telling you right now, you disappointed my staff, you disappointed social media, and at this point, Ethica, that was unethicous.
You are on one
What
right
is
now.
wrong
I
with you?
can't.
That was unethicous.
Okay, so yeah.
I don't like no unethicous.
Moving right
But
along.
Davies, you so goddamn fine. I'm gonna give you a second chance, but pump that shit up next time. Don't do it.
Pump it up.
All right, so
On another note, to a subject a little bit more serious.
I love being back on the fucking show. And you know what? I don't care if you say I'm messy. You sons of bitches would never get to see the dicks I talk about. So I'm trying to help you out.
Oh my
Stop talking about dicks right now.
No more dick talk.
DickUnlocked.com.
Somebody said in my DMs talking about like I mentioned convict dick on the last show, and I was just like, what was the context? I don't know.
Trey's dick looks like.
Oh my
no.
God, we're gonna get off this
Nope.
subject because we're losing our male
Not
listeners.
today.
Okay, we're gonna.
No,
not
sorry,
today,
guys.
We have a large gay following. They like, go girl, sis, tell us sis what it look like. Oh, they all and this guy's in the background saying, "Bitch, turn that shit off. I don't want to hear nothing about no dicks. You gonna come back
Can
when she ain't around."
Can we?
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Okay, thank you. All right, so all of us agreed that we were going to watch in order to discuss it today.
Hey, sorry.
I want us to move on so bad.
No, we're gonna move on. We're going to move on. I'm just saying, like,
You want to talk about Trey's dick a little bit more?
No. I'm just gonna say is she gave really good head because it's.
What does that mean?
It's not frequent that I see a woman that loves to do it the way that she loved to do it in that video. I wanted to get that video out of her phone so bad.
I swear to God.
All right, so
my sense of competition is like just being.
Oh, she was. I can't even say who she is because then people will start to piece it together. Because I know how you messy people are. You listen to my show. You start sending people links. Trey's going to call. People's going to call. Well, Trey, listen, don't call me. Because if you had a small penis, then you should call me because I would tell. Last time I said to somebody on the show, I didn't even say the person had a small penis. You remember?
Yeah.
When we got death threats?
I didn't.
Well, I
Wait,
didn't.
did I?
No, I didn't.
I don't. Okay.
Okay, sorry, go ahead. Because we just can't really transition from this into that. Let's talk about something else. You know, I love dogs.
I mean, we can talk about Hove.
Thank you.
But let's switch the order up because she threw a dick in here or I threw a dick in here. I don't know.
You threw all the dicks in there. Okay, so congratulations to Hove. He is the first hip hop billionaire. I actually thought that Dr. Dre had hit that.
Dr. Dre got 800 million.
Okay, all right. Well,
he only got 800.
he's a fucking pauper.
Yeah, broke ass nigga.
in
Dre
comparison.
just missed it.
Yeah. Well, Jay-Z is officially a billionaire. Legendary rapper and businessman Jay-Z is now officially a billionaire, the first hip-hop artist to become one, according to Forbes.
Talk about it.
Forbes first shared the exciting news and also broke down how the 49-year-old reached this huge accomplishment. To calculate his net worth, we looked at the artist's stakes in companies like Armand de... I can't pronounce that. It's the champagne company, Armand de Brignac.
There you
Champagne?
go.
There we
Ace
go.
of spades,
Okay.
basically.
Applying our customary discount to private firms and then added up his income, subtracting a healthy amount to account for his superstar lifestyle. We checked our numbers with a roster of outside experts to ensure these estimates were fair and conservative. Turns out Jay-Z really is a business
Talk
man.
about it.
Uber.
Yeah. Oh, no. Yeah, well, that was with Beyonce. I mean, God, they're
No,
geniuses.
he's an investor in Uber too.
Is he?
Wow.
Yes.
Big money.
And they also said on the low he owns a lot of Chipotles. They say he owns like over 1,000 Chipotles. That's not even in the list here.
That isn't. I mean, look at Rock Nation is like kind of low on the list in terms of the money that it generates.
And they manage Rihanna.
in terms of the list.
And they manage Rihanna, who was just named the richest woman in music at $600 million.
Yeah.
This is why she don't have no album out.
Yeah.
She's making money dressing up and putting on her makeup.
She's the first woman, like the LVMH, they don't just hand out like, luxury labels, you know what I'm saying? Or the opportunity to create one under that house.
Rihanna, we should be friends by now. Call me so I can describe Trey's dick to you.
Okay. Are you shitting me? She could find out what that shit's about, and she don't give a shit.
Bitch, call me. I'm gonna tell you first.
She's talking about she's got Saudi billionaires on her roster. Okay.
Yeah, but that's sand dick.
Yeah. Well, hey, listen.
Never heard. What is going on in here, yo?
Okay. Well.
Oh, I love being back on the radio.
I'm going to mute you for about 2.5 seconds. Damage. If you had the power and the wealth of a billionaire, what would you use your influence for? Because I know you'll be responsible.
I'd buy Trey's dick.
You simmer down for
I'm just playing.
60 seconds.
I honestly use my money for orphans, people without parents, boarding schools. I went to a boarding school, stuff like that.
Okay.
I can't even have a serious conversation.
I know, because there's dicks in the air.
You get a dick. You get a dick. You get a dick.
We seriously won't
No,
even-
okay, let me stop. The visuals in my head, it was so much spit, it was a loud mess, okay?
Did you say spit?
Yeah, so this is what I would say. If I had $1 billion, first of all, if I had $1 billion and my wife was Beyonce,
So that's almost $2
did
billion.
you just hit yourself in the mouth with the mic? The fuck you
Put
doing?
that cup in the mic. Sorry,
Okay.
I needed some tea today.
One girl, two
But
cups.
together they got to be worth almost $2 billion, right?
Yeah,
Am I just
'cause
saying
Beyonce's
shit?
up there. She, but again, you're a billionaire and your wife is Beyonce. Like you have 3 children by Beyonce. What else do you do?
Keep making billions.
I mean, after you make $1 billion, like, do you just keep making billions?
Yeah.
Run
Kids
for,
ain't never. Blue Ivy's gonna walk into first grade like all you hoes bow down.
run
But the-
for president.
But the
maybe?
thing is, with the billionaires, there's so many billionaire. So it's like he still got shit he want to reach.
If Jay-Z went from the trap house to the White House, that would be an American story.
I mean, yeah.
It's possible. You see, I mean, Trump did it.
Well, God bless him. Well, let me just say,
That's
fuck
funny.
you, Sephora. SZA, I ran into her at the nail shop. Not this last time before Trey's dick was in my face.
Oh my God.
But SZA has the most beautiful skin, the most beautiful eyebrows, the most beautiful lips. She's a beautiful black woman. And she was also apparently accused of, what was she accused of?
Well, they basically racially profiled her in the store, and they started following her around with that. That always insinuates that, you know, we think you're here to steal. It's just like, she's fucking SZA. So basically what happens, Sephora is closing its stores on June 5th for diversity training after an incident involving SZA. Sephora is not pleased with one of their workers after singer SZA publicly shared that she was followed while shopping at one of their store locations in California. She says that she was shopping for Fenty beauty products at a Calabasas store on April 30th when an employee, who she nicknamed Sandy Sephora, called security to make sure she wasn't stealing. That's fucked up. SZA was later gifted a Fenty product by Rihanna herself, but the beauty company followed up with an apology shortly after, saying that SZA is part of the Sephora family and we are committed to ensuring every member of our community feels welcome and included in our stores. Okay, so here's basically the translation of what happened. Rihanna called up fucking Sephora and said, if you want to keep Fenty Beauty in
Did
your
she call Sephora?
I'm translating what
Bossed
this basically
up.
said.
Okay.
She basically said, correct this motherfucking shit or Fenty Beauty is being removed from all Sephora. Rihanna could literally set up Fenty Beauty stores wherever she wants.
First
She
of all,
doesn't.
she can send it up on her website.
She could do whatever she wants, but Fenty Beauty is one of those brands that Sephora needs. They can't say to Rihanna, we don't need your motherfucking shit. No, yeah, you do. So I'm pretty sure that that's exactly what happened, since Rihanna, I just like her steez. I like how slick she was with that. But I can guarantee that that's exactly what happened, because Sephora would not be doing something like this. They wouldn't be making such a big public play of, you know, oh, we're going to train our workers in sensitivity and racial diversity.
Following the Starbucks model of shutting down your stores and treating people not to disrespect black people or just to assume that people of color are thieves, that's bullshit. Because
What's your hiring practices like?
Yeah, that doesn't stop people from being racist. You train me, this is how you don't get caught doing the racist shit, you stupid bitch.
Yeah.
Is it easy to steal from Sephora? Is that like a thing?
I don't know.
why
I
do
won't
you-
even steal a grape out of a fucking
But why
supermarket,
do you
so I don't know.
assume that black people are stealing? I will tell you, I did have a bad Sephora incident once. It had nothing to do with them. It was all me. Ty Hunter, who happens to be Beyonce's former stylist, he has perfect skin. If you ever see Ty, his skin is
beautiful.
flawless. Well, this bitch taught me about tinted moisturizer. So I caught myself going down to Sephora on my own to buy tinted moisturizer.
You
So
could have just called me, you know.
No, well, I could have. Well, listen what I did. I bought the tinted moisturizer and a brush and a sponge, and I put my tinted moisturizer on all by myself. Well, I didn't put it on my neck. And the problem is the tint was too light, so when I took a picture, I looked like a goddamn ghost.
Yeah.
I looked casket ready. So I just threw all the tinted moisturizer. I said, you know, I have good skin. I don't know how to do this, so I'm not going to fuck around because I don't want to be looking like I'm wearing makeup.
Well, listen, okay, we'll go get you some more tinted moisturizer. It might not have been the right one for your complexion, and I'll show you how to apply it. It's really, really easy. And a lot of them come with SPF, which is necessary.
SPF.
What's that?
It just protects you from the sun's rays, you know, all that shit. Anyways,
I've never been followed in the store, so that's crazy that they was following like SZA around. You'd think they'd follow me around.
Yeah, but they probably didn't even know it was SZA.
You don't even have to. I mean,
I'm just saying, like,
who's going in Calabasas to the Sephora to steal? Like, I would think everybody in that area can like buy some.
no, people still in that area. You remember, what's the little nigga name? Justin Bieber was living there throwing eggs at people's houses. There's people out there doing
But
dumb
that's
shit.
fun.
No,
Stealing
it's,
from Sephora.
no, it's illegal.
Oh, well.
yeah, you know, that's
Okay, well,
assault-ish.
R. Kelly is
Assault-ish.
locked up. Is he
Robert?
locked up yet?
Yeah.
What's going on with R. Kelly?
R. Kelly, he has been indicted with 11 more sexual assault and abuse charges. These officials are not going to rest until they get this motherfucker under the jail. He was indicted with 11 additional counts of sexual assault and abuse charges related to one alleged victim. He faces 4 counts of aggravated criminal sexual assault, 2 counts of criminal sexual assault, and 5 counts of aggravated criminal sexual abuse, according to the court documents. The new charges were filed by a Cook County grand jury and involve a woman who was under the age of 18 at the time of the alleged abuse. The indictment accuses Kelly of ejaculating onto the victim's body and committing acts of sexual penetration by the use of threat or force. Really?
Well, if it was in Chicago and she was 17 years old, it's legal. Yeah. That's what the law says. But, I was at Wild 'N Out and I was backstage in hair and makeup and R. Kelly came on the playlist and everybody just quietly looked at one another like, are we allowed to enjoy this? Because he's an amazing singer.
Yeah.
Do you think people have now been able to separate Robert from the singer?
I can't.
You still can't?
No, after reading this shit, I can't read this.
No, can you separate the two?
I can't. Okay. Especially like when you read stuff like this and then he comes on, it's like you feel like a sicko.
Melissa, can you?
No, not really. No, but here's the thing.
Because when you hear ain't nothing wrong with a little bump and grind.
Listen, I think he's a musical genius. I do. And with genius breeds eccentricity. And it's been so long. The stories have, plagued him and followed him for so long. When your real life gets bigger than the genius that you are in your music and your art form, I lose interest. My boycotting is very silent. I don't need to tell everybody who I hate, who I don't like, whose music I stop listening to because I think they're a fucking idiot or whatever the case is. My boycotts are private, So he's just one person whose music I've lost. If it comes on, I can appreciate it, but I'm not. He ain't on my playlist.
If he's found not guilty, will you be able to enjoy it?
Listen, I've moved on. I'm obsessed with like Xavier Omar. You know what I'm saying?
What about Charlie Puth
and Khalid.
Do you like Charlie Puth?
Yeah, no, I love Charlie Puth, but we all have our favorites, and like I love Snow Allegra. These are my favorite artists right now. So I'm not really. I don't feel like I need to listen to Robert.
Especially because it's sex songs too. It's not like he's making like it's sex songs, and it's like ew, like it just take me in the room like I was there.
But why is he the only one charged? More people need to go to jail.
But more people.
Who is the mothers in the kitchen cooking? K. Michelle.
But how do we know they're not being charged? Because they're not going to make headlines. R. Kelly's the headline.
No, they'd make headlines. They need to lock everybody up. Assistants, drivers, hotel staff, security, every motherfucker that saw them little girls going there. You know what's so sad is that nobody was there to protect those kids. Like it was permissible to everybody. Yeah. That's crazy to me.
Well, I mean, that is like when a business is huge and a person is a huge business. Power. And it's enabling. It's enabling. That person does not hear the word no. They don't want to hear no. You're not being paid to tell me motherfucking no. So don't, be the morality police on my lifestyle, even though what it appears is that he's committing crimes.
Mothers, you are the strongest people out there. If you know your kids are being put in harm's way, do everything you can. We posted a story on Hollywood Unlocked yesterday to this woman in Chicago who was standing outside a car. Did you see that? She was standing outside a car with, I think, her baby daddy and another guy, and a car pulled up. Oh, yeah. Shot her. She ended up stumbling to the side and laying on top of her daughter. She died.
What?
The woman died. I woke up this morning from texts from people saying, how dare you put that on Hollywood Unlocked? Listen, we report the news. We live in a fucked up world. I want you to see it. It's going to be in your face, because I really feel like the only time people change is when you are forced to look at inhumanity. Like when you see something that's inhumane and you look at like the lack of respect for human life, it does make you question. I think it makes you question the world you live in. I think it makes you think about being safer, It
absolutely does. I mean, that's another story that we were going to talk about is Malia Davis in
another disgusting headline.
It's a horrible headline. And so basically, if you're not familiar with this, Malia Davis was a 4-year-old who went missing. And
beautiful little girl,
4 years old. Her stepfather originally said that he was hit over the head during a carjacking, and then when he woke up, she was gone and she'd been, taken or whatever the case is. But then his story started to kind of fall apart. He was giving different versions to different people.
And the mother started posting things on social media saying that she thought he had something to do with it and posting old photos of the girl being beaten by the guy, but you stayed with him.
No, not only did you stay with him, you left her with him.
And that's what I was going to ask. How did he get alone with the baby?
Lock her up too.
Yeah. So, anyways, it's her remains have been found. They were found in a ditch along, I believe, an Oklahoma highway.
And he confessed to killing her. He said it was an accident, but he confessed to where the body was.
Yeah, and he's confessed. And she was found on the side of a road in a ditch in a garbage bag. This beautiful 4-year-old girl. It's disturbing.
When was it an accident? When he put her in a trash bag and then threw her in a ditch?
No, it happened in the house.
But I'm just saying, if it was an accident, you put her in a trash bag.
Well, we know it wasn't an accident.
Yeah.
Here's my question. Most people say they don't believe in the death penalty because we'll get into when they see us in a second, and we'll talk about people who are wrongfully convicted and how some people, unfortunately, are in prison innocently and end up dying by way of the death penalty. But I'm sorry. I believe there are some circumstances where you need to be lined against the wall and shot the fuck up.
And I guess this
is one of them. Like, I will say that one of the things that I was thinking about a lot about, like, what am I here for? Like, what are we here on earth for? Hollywood Unlocked and everything I do, while and out, all this is all my passion, but it is not my purpose. I've always said my purpose is going to come by way of me building the platform big enough to have my passion meet my purpose, and it's manifesting, right? But I think of, like, how many times I really want to help kids. But then I also know, like, the fuckery with the internet and, all the stuff that's happening right now. I'm really afraid to help kids because I'm afraid to fuck with anybody, honestly. Adults, kids, I don't fuck with nobody because I feel like that's really the only way to protect your good name out here these days. But then these type of stories come up and you wonder, you're just like, okay, what would drive a person to be so mad that you would kill a little 4-year-old girl, cut her up and put her in a bag and throw her on the side of the street? I couldn't even do that to a dog.
Yeah.
I couldn't even do it to a rabbit. Like, I don't even, those type of people deserve to be killed.
Right. Well, I mean, we are all waiting with bated breath to find out what the, what the medical examiner is going to determine is the cause of death once they perform an autopsy on her. Her mother hasn't been charged in the disappearance or her death. However, many people feel like this could have been avoided because he had a history of being abusive, and she left her with him. And even her legal representative has basically said publicly he will no longer represent her because she hasn't been truthful about the case.
I feel like the death penalty is the easy way out. I feel like he should suffer. Quick death.
But it's not a quick death. The death penalty is such fucking bullshit because you could be sitting on there for 20 years, appeal after appeal after appeal.
Not to mention we're paying for it,
and you're paying for it. You can get all kinds of good health care and shit like
that.
They
can even get a one last meal.
They got TVs in the South. I've seen it. I watch documentaries.
I want him to die, but the thing I will say is that and this is for mothers out there, and please, I know I say a lot of crazy shit, and sometimes it gets a little wild, but I will never forget, and I'm not saying this for sympathy, and I'm not saying this in a way of like I don't want any empathy or no, oh my God, sorry that happened to you, but it's just for educational purposes. I remember when I was molested and I told my mom and she didn't believe me. There's nothing worse than a mother not protecting their child.
Yeah.
When you are a parent, your obligation is to care and protect for your kid.
Yeah.
I would even go a step further and say, as part of our community, you should be there to protect all children. If you see a kid being abducted that ain't your kid, you still supposed to jump in and say something. You're supposed to do something. I don't understand how a parent could let their man, and this is for all of y'all laying up with a nigga who got out of prison. He got good dick, but he ain't got shit else going for him. But he laying around your children.
He's not your babysitter.
He is not your
fucking babysitter.
But more importantly, too, he ain't. I was hearing stories about how I think it's Sam Cooke and another artist got into a beef back in the day because one artist was sleeping with his wife and then ended up fucking his daughter. That's how the wife left, and then just a mess. My point is, if you have a person in your house who's either sexually attracted to your kid or dangerous to your kid, you should not be with him.
People are so afraid of being alone. They're so afraid.
Who you bring your children
But you're not alone.
around.
You got a kid.
Yeah.
They don't care. It's a sick mindset. Those people are sick too. Like you said, he needs to go to jail. She needs to go to jail too.
I agree.
She needs to go to prison and he needs to be put to death. I want him shot
stoned
in public.
Yeah. Exactly. Okay.
Cut his dick off first.
That's how we feel about the whole situation. Yes, like with a butter knife. Okay.
With a butter knife.
And pour some alcohol on it, like some salt and some chicken.
See, I was gonna say lemon and some Himalayan salt. Anyways,
Some
okay.
zest.
Let's just stay in line with what we're talking about here. So we have all seen When They See Us, correct? Everybody at the table now.
I have watched all 4 episodes.
You're
Okay.
a strong man.
So before I go into it, a lot of people have talked about the fact that it has not been as publicized as, say, I don't know, just anything white. That it's not getting like the media attention that it needs. So we decided that we were going to put a strong focus on our conversation and watch it first. And it was really, really hard.
So set it up for people who don't know.
Okay, so if you have not seen it, you need to see it.
Watch it now.
Yeah, Ava DuVernay directed, wrote, executively produced a documentary. Docuseries, sorry, called When They See Us, and it's about the Central Park Five. So these are 5
on Netflix.
So these are 5 babies, basically. They were children that basically got just swallowed up by the justice system that accused them of a crime. It was a horrific crime. This 28-year-old jogger went running in Central Park at night, and she was beaten with a rock.
I think a stick or a bat or something. She got hit.
But also a
pole,
rock.
pipe.
His fists, a rock.
Sodomized,
raped, left for dead. Like literally lost 75% of the blood in her body through her head wounds. She lost her sense of smell.
She survived.
Her memory.
Crazy.
Yeah, she still to this day does not remember anything about the attack. The 6 weeks after it, she was in a coma for a really, really long time. And it was just these kids' bad luck that they just happened to have been in Central Park. And yeah, they were being teenagers. It's really interesting when, boys will be boys. When that, a kind of adage is applied to boys. There's only a certain type of boy that is applied to. And it's not black boys, which is why the title is aptly named When They See Us. Because when they see us, they think animals having been let out of their cages and that sort of thing. So we watch how this story basically, depicts how these boys were put through the judicial system, convicted based on absolutely no evidence whatsoever. None of their DNA was they couldn't even tell you where this happened, but they provided confessions. But
they didn't even know each other.
They didn't even know each other. They were fed
random boys.
They were fed all of this information through, just through being terrorized by these cops. They weren't fed. They were held against their will. They were refused lawyers and their parents in the room. They were refused food, bathroom breaks. Beaten like for hours and hours
Torture.
and hours.
Then they
Tortured,
separated their trials just to be able to make the evidence they did have that was contrived or created and manipulated make a strong case against them.
Right. And so the case gained national attention and the media immediately turned the boys into criminals, talked about them, that's where the whole phrase wilding came out of. Like, it's like when you say, I was wilding out, like wilding out.
Yeah.
That's where, but the process. So this is what was interesting is, not the prosecutor, not her, the detective, Linda Feinstein. She ran the SVU. She really felt like she had a point to prove.
She had an agenda.
No, but what's really interesting is who she was played by right now. She has Felicity Huffman has the terrible ass luck of playing Linda Feinstein.
But people I've seen online loved how well she played that part now and are actually like saying that she shouldn't go to jail now. She needs to get a pass.
Yeah.
Because she was able to show us the ugly side of the law through her portraying this part so well.
Yeah.
I will say this was my takeaway from watching it. Number one, people, and this is probably my fault, people don't know the type of activism that I was involved with before TV and entertainment. I was at 19 and 20 years old when I went to work at the high school I graduated from. Although I worked in the discipline office, I donated my time, or volunteered my time to be the BSU Black Student Union leader for the school. And part of me leading the BSU was integrating non-Black students into the Black Student Union because I felt like in order for people to really for us to move our story forward, we had other people that needed to understand our story. So I integrated it, and I built a bunch of leadership expectations around how we really led by example and inclusion. Went on later to work as a union person and became a leader in the union. It became the leader because there were no other black leaders in the union. I was the only black leader. I was the only black probation officer. I was always finding myself as being the only black. And from white people, I knew that they accepted me more because I was fair skinned. I didn't know the dark skinned black Negro experience. Instead, by looking at some of my cousins and my brothers and sisters who are darker skinned than I, that I could see like some struggle. But I had a darker skinned sister who became a fucking doctor. But it was through all of like community activism, getting Barack Obama elected when I was the field director in 2008, going to Roseville, knocking on doors and white people looking at me with the test. And I always saw my world through the lens of being a black man. Even though I had a white mom and I was mixed or whatever, or looked Puerto Rican or looked Spanish, I always look at myself like, if you have a drop of black in you, you're a black man. I don't give a fuck what your melanin looks like. If you're black, and you live in the black community, you know what it feels like to be black and live as a black man. My personal takeaway from this, and why I wanted us to watch it, and why I was glad everybody had already done that, was that recently something happened to me. It happened to me. I was surprised it happened to Jason Lee right now. I lived in Hollywood. I was getting dropped off by Floyd's DJ, DJ Bling, shout out to Bling. We're in a Rolls Royce. Cardi calls, FaceTimes, as I'm pulling up to get out. And I said, just pull over right here in front of my building. Let me just answer this real quick. What's up, Cardi? Blah, blah, blah. We're talking, and I'm introducing them or whatever. And as I'm getting ready to get out the car, literally just pulled out to let me out, I see a police car ride by, and they're hanging out the window looking like, the fuck is these niggas doing in a Rolls Royce? And I said to him, this is what I said to Bling. I said, Cardi, let me call you back. They gonna turn around. So we sat there to see if they were gonna turn around. And they made a U-turn. They came behind us, and then they turned on the lights. And we looking at each other like, the fuck is this? And I remember saying, Bling was real cocky because he's like, this is my Rolls Royce. We're the money team. We got money. You in front of your house. We ain't parked in the red. We just get out the car. They came up and they're shining the lights in our face. And it's so light and so bright and so disrespectful. So they're like, turn the car off. And he's like, for what? He was like, turn the car off. So Bling is now being a little cocky. Like, what the fuck you bothering me for? I got insurance, the license. So the guy in front of me here, his light is right in my face. I said, can you please take the light out of my face? And he's not talking to me. He's non-responsive. And I'm saying, can you take the light out of my face? And he's non-responsive. So I start filming him. So long story short, they're still being aggressively disrespectful to us, right? So I call the police department. Because that's what you do when you think you need help. You call the fucking police. So I call and I say, hey, can you send a supervisor over?
I've done that before.
They sent a supervisor over with like 4 more police officers. Now there's a bunch of cars, there's lights, and this is all happening in front of my building in Hollywood.
I love that shit.
They fucking take Bling out the car and handcuff him. And I'm like, what's happening? Now they're like, get out the car. I'm like, well, hold on. First of all, I'm going to open the door, so I need you to see my hands because he had his hand on his gun the whole time in the light of my face. So I open the door. I have my backpack on, my MCM backpack on my lap. I open the door. I get out. They handcuff me, put me against the wall. I have not been handcuffed as an adult like in years, like since my DUI probably. So I'm sitting here like, and fans are walking by taking pictures, and people are asking me, am I okay? My building security is outside now, and I'm standing against the wall handcuffed for no reason.
For how long?
Wait, I'm cussing everybody the fuck out. I'm cussing them all out. Motherfucker, when you let me out, and there's a black woman there who knows who I am, and she's telling them like, listen, she's trying to tell them who I am. So they're leaving me handcuffed, and they're going on, and you know, they're talking down to me. And I remember how I was feeling. I remember when they let me out, I called down to the police department and I asked to speak to a supervisor. They wanted, and I knew I was on a recorded line, so I was going on about racism and this and this and that. And I was going to do this whole thing. Then the next day I woke up, I said, you know, I'm just going to let that shit go because it's just a lot of energy. I've been in the fight. I'm just not going to do anything. So when I saw this, let me tell you my what I've thought. If it happened to me, I know it's happening to everybody.
What?
And the way they were so arrogant and just confident that they could violate. They searched my bag with no warrant. The Latina lady, police officer, went to put her hand in my back pocket to take my wallet out. I said, that's a legal search and seizure. You take my fucking ID out my back pocket. You put your hands in my pants with no warrant and no probable cause. I will fucking sue all these. She took her hand out. I said, see, I know my rights. They didn't know I used to work at the probation department.
They didn't know nothing.
They didn't know. They
don't care.
But they didn't care.
Guess what? A motherfucker tried you.
A motherfucker tried. But you know what he said to me?
What?
The supervisor? I said, let me out these handcuffs because you have no probable cause to detain me. You have no reason to look through my bag. You just did a legal search and seizure. You just tried to go on my personal pockets with nobody's read me my Miranda rights, so I'm not under arrest. What am I being detained for? What is the fucking crime? I'm at my house. He says, well, now we're holding you here in handcuffs until you calm down. But he's talking to me like,
you're a child.
We'll let you go when you calm down. Mm-hmm. When I tell you I cussed them all the way out, but they have internal affairs investigated. They have the city attorney's office investigating. But this was the takeaway. I let these bitches get away with it. How many times are we in the right that we let them get away with it? To look at what these little kids went through, I can't even believe that we're in America and the nigga who was taking out ads that they should be killed is our president.
Yeah. Yeah.
Agendas are scary.
Yeah. So a young Donald Trump, he was a real estate mogul at the time. He paid $85,000 to place ads in newspapers headlined in the capital letters, "Bring back the death penalty, bring back our police." He played a very integral role in shaping public opinion and poisoning the minds of those outside the case. And Ava, did her due diligence by depicting him through the storyline, because it's true. I remember this case and it was just awful. I want to say the names of the now grown men: Kevin Richardson, Yusuf Salam, Raymond Santana Jr., Antron McCrae, and Corey Wise. They range from ages 14 to 16, Corey Wise being 16 years old. He was arrested 2 weeks after his 16th birthday. The rest of them were placed in juvenile facilities. He was placed in adult prison, a 16-year-old boy.
This was the one that was repeatedly beat up, right?
And God knows what else.
The last that was the hardest one to watch.
That was the hardest one to watch.
And I will say to all the kids who played these people, you guys did a phenomenal job.
The actor, I gotta find it.
But while you find it,
okay,
boys who played, the young boys 14 to 16 who played these roles, and shout out to ISIS and Niecy Nash. I mean, the acting is so superb. The screenwriting was so superb. I have to say, I did reach out to Ava today. I'm going to really press to get an interview with Ava because I think this is probably, I'll go on and say Selma was great, but I'll say that this is probably her best work so far. I would say because of the impact, you can feel it.
So the actor's name is Jarrell Jerome. He was actually in Moonlight, which I did not know. But I mean, when I say his performance was haunting. It's seamless. I felt terror for him. Mm-hmm. And that is when an actor is accomplished their job. Mm-hmm. Like when you feel the sense of terror that this little boy felt being placed in a jail with hardened criminals, it broke my heart. I was sitting there crying and I was just like, you want to look away from things like this. You want to turn.
But I think part of me not following up is because
was you putting your head in the sand?
Yes, and it's just okay, I worked through it, I got through it, but to do that is to allow it to happen to somebody else.
Mm-hmm. And that's the thing. When you talk about the detective, her agenda, these agendas happen everywhere. And for me to have a son that's a young black boy, it's hard to teach kids about that agenda. You see the father when they were trying to tell him you're not supposed to do certain things. Mm-hmm. I've been in situations in Philadelphia where they had agenda to do random search and seizures on cars in the neighborhood I was in, right? There's also agenda to lock up so many amount of people. Mm-hmm. My car twice in 3 days randomly searched and seized, went through everything. I'm on the sidewalk, cuffed up. they could have easily put drugs in there. I could have easily went to jail.
There's a line in the movie that says, once you've been inside, they got you and they keep you. There's no it was about employment because when they'd been released, they all had to register as sex offenders. Like, they were not given an opportunity once they've gotten out of prison. They weren't given an opportunity to actually put this chapter behind them. I mean, it's horrifying. Once you've been inside, they got you and they keep you. No employment in certified positions, bus drivers, EMTs. You can't get real.
They talked about the judge.
Yeah.
Where they said everybody goes to him is going straight up.
Yeah, they call it Galligan's Island. Rikers Island is called Galligan's Island, and that was the judge. And it was supposed to be a lottery in which the judge was just randomly picked. They worked it out. The prosecution worked it out that they got the judge of their choice to ensure a conviction.
So I have a friend
with no DNA evidence, no nothing.
I have a friend right now who's close to my family. He's been in prison for 2 years. He's probably 23, 24 years old. From Stockton, and he's in Kansas City prison, and he's there on his first charge of having a pound of marijuana.
Jesus.
For 6 years.
In this day and age.
So he called me the other day and he said, can you help me get out? Can you please call the governor? You know what I said? I'm going to take this one project on to see if I can help. So I called the governor's office. He's in Lansing Correctional Facility. The governor of Kansas, Laura Kelly. I called her office and I'm trying to get him out. And this is why I love, I'm going to throw this out here, Kim Kardashian. You can say whatever you want. You can say she's not perfect. You can say this and that. But she now knows what it feels like to raise black children in America. And when you have a fear that your son, no matter what your tax bracket is, racism meets you at everywhere. Everywhere you go, if you black, you can be rich, you can be poor. You still going to, look at SZA, you're famous, you're still going to get it. Look. When she saw what her black children, the world that they lived in, and she decided to step up, who cares if she did it for whatever reason? The fact that she's bringing awareness to how fucked up our judicial system is. Just the idea of this happening to these kids. I just read another story right now where 2 black men just got out of prison for spending 43 years in prison for being wrongly convicted. Your whole life is gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it can happen like this.
Yeah, to anybody.
Like you said how you was handcuffed. I walked across the street leaving Warwick on a Wednesday, was handcuffed for 2 hours on the wall.
Why though?
For no reason, crossing the street. Cop came by, handcuffed me on the wall. Backup came. They're all looking like, you probably should let them go. But they're not really saying it. They're saying it with their eyes because they don't really disagree in front of people.
Why didn't you say anything?
I said a bunch of shit. They went in my pocket, everything. They didn't give a fuck.
No, but did you follow up? Did you complain?
Of course not.
That's what I'm saying. Why do we not do that?
Fear. I'm scared.
No,
I'm scared to death
I
for
wouldn't.
cops.
And besides being fearful, it's just not being listened to, feeling like the machine is just too big to go up against.
It is.
You know what I'm saying? So like these kids, they were exonerated in 2002 when the real perpetrator of the crime coincidentally crosses paths with Corey Wise in jail and decides to lighten the load on his conscience and basically admits to the crime. When the crazy part is, when the crime was committed, this particular perpetrator was out raping and killing women. This was his MO. The jogger was his MO. So to have the kids did not fit. There's a scene where they're trying to figure out the timeline of events. And one detective literally says, well, we can pull the rape up to 9/20.
Pull it up.
Meaning they can alter the timeline to fit their interpretation of the crime and the perpetrators. Once they found out there was black kids in the park, they did not consider anybody else to be a suspect. Meanwhile, the guy who actually did it literally is walking around covered in her blood with her Walkman on, walking through the park. Nobody considered him. And law enforcement was aware of him. They really didn't consider him a viable.
They had some really good people in this show too. Dasha Polanco.
Yeah. She was so hateful.
She was a bitch.
Yes, she was.
Which character?
That.
She played John Leguizamo's. She played Raymond Santana's stepmother, married to
Raymond
his father.
Santana was fine as shit.
I knew you were gonna say that.
What?
He was.
I'm about to go back and look for them credits and find that nigga Instagram. Come up here to Hollywood Unlocked to find that.
He definitely was. Was a very good looking guy.
I think a good question is, what is the way to follow up? Like, Jason, you've been in a situation.
I'm going to call the city attorney tomorrow. The city attorney did call saying she wanted to set up a meeting and a mediation between me and the officers. I said,
there is no mediation. Fuck you.
I said, you're not mediating,
no
violating my fucking rights. I said, is my attorney allowed? She goes, well, we typically try to send this up with the person in the police. I said, fuck no. Fuck no. The only way to do it is to sue them and do something public, which that may be an option because they absolutely violate my rights. And I explained to them, like, I know you all violate my rights. When I cited all the shit, the bottom line, though, is that everybody has to get educated, because let me tell you something. When you get pulled over, if they have no probable cause and they don't have any reasonable suspicion that you committed a crime and they don't tell you why you're being pulled over, you don't have to respond to them. Roll up your window and call. Now, they're probably going to fuck you up.
Yeah, they are. They're going to smash your window.
I walked across the street.
No, you walked across the street. They could say you were jaywalking. But look at Sandra Bland. What? I mean, I think they said something like she had like a tail light out or something.
No, she switched lanes too swiftly.
They make it up, and now she's dead. Then claimed she committed suicide.
Right.
This is bullshit.
It's frightening.
This is complete and total bullshit. And you know, going back to say, you know, they were exonerated after the real perpetrator of the crime had like an issue with his conscience and came forward. But they finally sued the city in 2014. They were awarded something between 41 and 43
million.
Yeah, $41 million between the 5 plaintiffs and stuff. But it's just,
that's nothing.
No, it's not enough. It tore their families apart. It tore them apart. It was irreparable damage. Michael K. Williams.
He was great too.
God, he was
There
brilliant.
were so many good actors and actresses in there, but Niecy Nash, you fucking did your thing.
Yeah, she really did.
But I have to say, we do have to do more. We have to speak more. And I will say on Hollywood Unlocked, we are criticized often for posting a lot of stuff that people may see as negative or whatever. But if you really pay attention, we do show a lot of injustices between police and people of color. We do show a lot of how there are things outside of our culture that impact us. We don't show a lot of fight videos between black people because that's just not our brand. Mm-hmm. And I got criticized this morning about posting something that they felt was too wild, but let me tell you something. We live in a wild world, and I'm gonna make you look at it because I do feel like it does bring some sense of humanity to people who actually give a fuck. When you have to look at how inhumane people treat one another, I will say to the police, man. You know, I won't lie. If a police officer gets behind me or pulls me over, I feel uncomfortable from the beginning.
From the jump.
And you motherfuckers are the problem. But I will say that you do feel it's bigger than you. You do feel like, because I've been in an institution where I've seen them abuse children. And I remember, this is how I lost my job as a probation officer. I don't even know if I said this on the show. I went to work at probation because I wanted to fight for young black and brown kids, because I was one of them. I was on probation. I was in juvenile hall. I was in group homes. But when I got in there, I realized institutions and police and probation is all a business. It's all a big business. You get government funding based on how many beds are full.
That's what I was trying to say.
You get free labor. It's all a fucking business. When I saw what it was, I switched from being the probation officer to the advocate for the kids. Now here is the motherfucker in who you just get paid money to lock people up and put them in their cells and this and that. I then switched to became an advocate, started seeing how they were abusing kids. And what I did was I took an image off of our system where they had basically dressed kids up like in the orange jumpsuits who weren't murderers, shackles, chains, and masks, and walked them around and paraded them around the institution during Halloween for trick or treat. And basically it was like a violation of the right. So I took pictures and I submitted them anonymously, and they found out that I did it and they fired me for it. And they told me, we'll pay for this later. They didn't give a fuck that I was advocating for the kids. I was speaking out of turn. I was not following the code. And people just need to realize if you are black, and yeah, I don't say I'm black and fight the power at every episode, because I don't have to do that. I share it on my platform. I do what I do behind the scenes, but I will say we do have to find the courage to do more.
Yeah.
Because when they see us, they don't see us. They don't see us as
Who you telling?
Human beings. And this is why when I went on the whole rant about the media, you don't get to treat black people different than everybody else.
But they do.
Every day.
And
but they
will.
do. So like I wanted to read some statistics after I urge you to watch When They See Us on.
That's a collective urge. You have to watch it.
Yes, you absolutely have to watch it. Facts about wrongful convictions against blacks. A report from the National Registry of Exonerations shows that black people are more likely to be wrongfully convicted than white people, and are also more likely to spend longer longer time in prison before being exonerated for their crimes. While black people represent 13% of the U.S. population, they represent a whopping 47% of the 1,900 exonerations in the registry. Researchers focus on 3 types of crimes where black people were more likely than whites to be exonerated: murder, sexual assault, and drug crimes. In addition, murder cases where a black defendant was wrongfully convicted were 22% more likely to involve police misconduct than those involving white defendants. Black people serving time for sexual assault are 3.5 more times likely to be innocent than white defendants that have been convicted of sexual assault. And when it comes to drug crimes, innocent blacks were 12 times more likely to be convicted than innocent whites. While black and white people have similar rates of illegal drug use, black people are more likely to be arrested and convicted of such offenses than white people are, researchers found.
Can I say this? And for people who say, let me say this. There's no part, we play no part. Black people play no part in a police officer misusing their authority or abusing their authority or wrongfully killing or convicting a black person. Oh, he reached for his license too fast. It doesn't matter. He reached for his license. You don't get to kill him.
No.
Oh, well, he didn't want to give me his single cigarette.
How do we have all these
he didn't want to give me a single cigarette. You don't get to choke him out and kill him on the street.
How do we have all of these mass murderers who walk into churches and gun people down, who walk into schools and gun people down, but they're taken down and put into custody with no incident?
Because when they see us, they see animals.
Monsters.
They see monsters. They see people who don't belong, and they see that they feel like they can do what they want to do. And this isn't all white people. Let me be clear, because I've had conversations, like I said, with Ellen Pompeo, who I think eloquently captures the white perspective and white responsibility in all of this. She knows how to. The conversation we had was about how it was important that they speak up more about inclusion and about accountability, because she's married to a black man. She is,
black
whatever.
Children.
So I would just say, like, I was impacted by it. I'm going to continue to do more for for myself, because, I always said, once I get a national platform, I'm going to really go hard, because now I'm in. But I'm in now. We have Hollywood Unlocked. We have people listening, and we have a responsibility.
And I think there should be a psych check every few months, something for these cops, because when I was handcuffed, there was cops on my side, but they couldn't be on my side in front of the other officer.
I 100% agree with that.
So it's not every cop.
There's a lot. I don't understand how there isn't a more intense or aggressive psychological assessment when it comes to people wanting to enter into the police academy and become police officers.
I wanted to do it, but I'm telling you, when you get in it, first of all, there's a code that we all stay on the same page. We all stay on the same page. I had a supervisor. I'm gonna tell you a supervisor. His name right now, the son of a bitch still works at Stanislaus County Probation Department. His name was Leonard Higginbotham. Don't that sound like a motherfucker that drives a big Ford F-150 and pulls pigs in tied by their feet behind his truck? Oh, fucking hick. Let me tell you about this motherfucker. I come to work and he pulled out a bow and arrow and pointed and pulled it back at me and was playing. Same person who was a supervisor said, go get the nigger out of his cell. Talking about a black kid. This was all in my report. Do you know they didn't care about none of that?
No.
Stanislaus County Probation Department. I don't know how it is now, but it was the most racist place I had ever been. And I had never seen people. But when you have that badge and you have, and it ain't just the badge.
It's power.
It's this. This pen, I see people type up reports and lock you in cells and send it to the judge and fuck your whole life up. It's a scary situation. It's scarier than I think we really understand. But this movie, When They See Us, it depicts the reality that's happening everywhere right now.
And this was 1989, and nary a thing has motherfucking changed. So you've got to watch it just in order for, just to be armed with information and also history. It's really, really important. Did you know that Oprah was an EP on this?
Yeah, well, Oprah and Ava are like,
I know. So was Robert De Niro, though.
Really?
Robert De Niro was an EP on this as well. My closing thoughts, since you mentioned Kim Kardashian, I mean, thank you, Kim, but you can't mention her without mentioning Brittany Barnett and Manziel Cody. These are the lawyers that have been involved in the exoneration process of 17 convicted felons who really were innocent people, or, given life sentences for nonviolent bullshit crimes. So I just don't think that those two women are.
And then you got the judge in Meek Mill's case, that black girl, she's a fucking mess because she's just as worse as them.
Well, no, what I'm trying to do is highlight the work of
I get it. But what I'm saying is that
I don't think that they're getting nearly enough attention.
I think the justice system in general needs to be revamped. I don't know how you do that.
Yeah. I posted.
That was a mouthful, I know.
I posted a picture. I posted a picture the other day with, quote unquote, Lady Justice laying on the ground, an illustration. And she had a hand over her mouth. She's blindfolded. She has a hand over her mouth, and the cufflink was GOP. Lady Justice, and the concept of it is just it's a far cry from reality in this country.
Here's the reality: we gotta get the fuck up out of here.
Yeah, we do.
So go watch the movie. Please comment in the please leave a comment in the comments what you think about it, and shout out to you, Ava, for doing great work. And come on the show so we could talk about it. But for now, we out. Peace.
Yes. Bye, everybody.